practice seekers. How are you guys? I did not expect to come back on this evening, and I'm sure you guys didn't expect me to. There's a few reasons I came on. One is because I missed you. I'm so sappy, huh? Let me just first get all the necessary stuff out of the way. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and share. That's the one I always forget. So I'll just do that at the beginning, maybe in the middle and the end too. But most important is that everything I say is my opinion only. It's pure speculation and complete insanity, right? It's for the sake of education and hopefully entertainment. Hey, John Cross, good evening, Phantasmic Ether. My sanity saver. Oh, you guys are the best. I love you so much. Thank you for the prayers. I really believe in the power of prayer, especially when you're crowdsourcing. So it's working. And I've been praying for you guys too. Oh, justice and truth for Kylie because she matters. Okay, let's just cry together, okay? This fucking case from the outset is horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't know about you. I can only speak for myself. The minute I heard about the case, there were so many red flags. I was just like, what? No. I mean, we all knew immediately that something was extremely, extremely not right. So here we are, the day before Halloween. And, I remember when that was 6 weeks away and the detectives that were in charge of the death investigation with Kylie Rodney said, we are not going to have any information for you until November 1st. And we were all just like, what? There's no way we can wait that long. And, time does fly, even when you're waiting on something like that. Like here we are already. The day after tomorrow is November 1st. I have honestly no idea. I don't know if anybody has any idea if anything is going to be coming out about the Kylie Rodney case. Because when they said that nothing would come out until then. And then we all know that they released the whole autopsy report and coroner's report and all that jazz a couple of weeks ago. So, they might just say that's as good as it gets. We're done. Move on with your silly lives and get a different hobby that doesn't involve Kylie Rodney and torturing her family. And I just want to say, none of us want to hurt a victim or a victim's family. None of us. If you do, then please don't watch my channel. I mean, my goodness, we are here to help. We are here to help the victims and the family of a victim. They are all victims. The victim is innocent. The family is either mostly innocent or completely innocent. We really honestly don't know. A lot of us have our suspicions about some weird stuff that's been said and done, but we don't know. So, we always want to remain respectful and careful with that. And I made a mistake earlier when Squirrels on Fire was using the initials for the granddad of Kylie Rodney, which I don't have that right in front of me. It's David R. Robinson. And I didn't even realize until I made that mistake. I said, oh, are you talking about Daniel Robinson? Sorry, Daniel Rodney. That's the father. So it does get so confusing when we get all these Nates. They've got the same initials, but Daniel Rodney, his middle name is Sterling. So it's Daniel S. Rodney. And I'm sorry, my face is all red from taking a really nice walk outside and it was too sunny. So anyway, I mistakenly thought she was talking about the dad owning a water company, and she was talking about the granddad owning a water company. So I have heard that the dad and the granddad have business ventures, including that the Lost Trail Lodge was in the grandfather's name up until more recently he put it in his ex-son-in-law's name. So it was in David R. Robertson's name from the time that he built it, which I think he bought the property in 98 and then opened the lodge in 2007. And then I don't know, a handful of years ago, he transferred the name into Daniel Sterling Rodney's name. That's my understanding. I haven't seen the deeds, and we always like our receipts. But I like to tell you when I don't have that receipt, so I could be inaccurate. It happens. I try to keep it down to a minimum. Um, so the things that I really wanted to talk with you guys about, let me see. I've got a few pages of notes as usual. I want to find out what this is so disgusting. I want to find out about the Prosser family campground reservoir. What's it? Family Prosser, my brain. It's been a day. The Prosser Creek Reservoir, right? Sometimes they call it Prosser Lake. I think technically it's Prosser Creek Reservoir. I don't think it really matters if you call it a reservoir or a lake, but anyway, same with Boca. Oh, and they're, reserves. They're also called reserves. So the Prosser Reserve, I had mistakenly thought that all three, the Stampede and Boca and Prosser, were all to add water to Tahoe when it got low, because it can lose 1 billion gallons of water a day just from evaporation. And so they're constantly making sure that it stays full with the reserves, with the reservoirs. So somebody corrected me. I can't remember who it was, but they said, no, Prosser Reservoir does not go into Lake Tahoe. It goes a different direction. And I'm really curious about that. If anybody wants to do a little sleuthing and see if they can figure out where the water goes. And the part that's disgusting, I don't know what is their drinking water. The Sierra Nevada crystal clear water has been like gold forever and ever. I would hate to think that Prosser Creek could be drinking water, and that what it had in it, at least for a few days before AWP made their discovery. That's so disgusting. I mean, I immediately think of Soylent Green from 1984, for anyone who doesn't know the reference. And I'll just let you Google it. I don't want to talk about it. I've thought that before when that person told me that reservoir wasn't used to refill Lake Tahoe. I was like, well, I want to look up where it does. What does it do? Where does it go? And let me read a few of your comments, because maybe somebody in here is telling me. Your garden video disappeared after 10 minutes this AM when I paused it to let the dog out. LOL. It's so darn tricky with this YouTube. So if you go to videos, it's not going to be there. You have to go to past live streams. So there's like a little tab, and yeah, I've meant to mention that to people. It's hard to find the live streams because they're kind of stored separately than the videos, but then sometimes they all wind up together. YouTube is kind of like Facebook and our smartphone technology. It's constantly changing, and we're constantly having to keep up with it. I'm brand new with it. So, I've been watching videos for a couple of years, but I've only been making them for a couple of months. So that is something that I didn't know when I was watching other people's videos and I couldn't find their lives. I'm like, where did it go? So anyway, try that. Try if you can find the tab that goes videos. It'll say like all uploads and live streams. So the uploads are like the pre-recorded edited ones, and then the live streams, or if you have it set to all, but mine seems to switch whenever it feels like it. So I'm constantly losing my own lives in that way. So hopefully you'll be able to find it. Soylent Green is people, right? Yeah, we weren't going to go there. So, there's so many things like that with this case that I'm like, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. And then I say it. And of course, these things need to be said. But that whole idea of how uncomfortable it is to talk about some of these things, and how much I wish that they weren't true, and how much I wish it was just me kind of overthinking things. I think we are all kind of culturally curated to be like that. We don't want to hear the grisly details. We've got that double homicide Delphi case with, what is it, two 11-year-old girls, maybe a 10 and 11-year-old girl that were both sexually assaulted and murdered. And, we don't know all the details. Partially, I don't know because I can't pay attention to that stuff. It's so disgusting. So this guy, this dude, if you can call him a guy, I can't. I mean, he's a piece of crap. If it's him, if he's guilty, we don't know. They arrested him, on Friday? They do this right before a weekend because then all the news stuff is shut down over the weekend. And then Monday, woohoo, let's kick it off, right? And I don't mean to be cynical, and I don't know that much about the Delphi case, but I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Tuesday or after Tuesday, they come forth and they say, oops, wrong guy. That the whole thing was literally a distraction from November 1st in the Kylie Rodney case. I also don't know very much about what is alleged to have happened with Nancy Pelosi's husband. And, I hope he's okay. I don't understand how anybody could have attacked him in his own home with their security detail. And, my only thought is if it wasn't Nancy, the butler did it or he faked it. I mean, seriously, like, how does that happen to somebody that has surveillance systems everywhere? They literally probably have a pack of hound dogs like Mr. Burns in The Simpsons. When your life is like that, you have to. So I'm just like, weird. Okay, so Pelosi's husband is assaulted, and suddenly, magically overnight, they arrest this guy that they could never figure out who he was for 5 years almost, with a video clip of him visually and with an audio clip of him and his voice. Come on, give me a god darn break. Ugh. Okay. So that's what I really wanted to say. I really want to say that I think all these distractions, Xana May and Megan, and other things in the news are just that. They're just distractions. It's just like when, Xana May came out as the cleanup crew, and then Megan came out to kind of lay the groundwork for the fire cam. And that whole fire cam, California Fire was involved in the search crew in the early days. So that tells me that they absolutely 100% had that camera footage from the outset. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I hear a dog scratching at one of the doors, but I'm not going to worry about it. I've got other people home that could take care of it if they felt like it. Water flows through the dam to the south. Hopefully that helps with how the water rights are arranged in the Truckee Tahoe area. I sent a couple of previous messages with more info on the Truckee River. Thank you. I think it's BS. Colonel Mustard in the dining room with the candlestick. No. It's always the butler. I mean, this is why Murdoch murdered his maid of 20 or 25 years. And this is why I suspect that Megan is a housekeeper for the Smith family. She has stated up front that she's a housekeeper. She's also stated up front that she coached Sammy and that she got Sammy the connection with Iqmael. She thought Sammy was going to get interviewed by Iqmael, and then somehow it turned into the other guy, not Iqmael. But she states that she coached her. And is Megan the person in the videotapes from 10 years ago that might be Sammy, a Samantha, and a Megan? And then isn't there like an Elsa in one of those videotapes? I mean, seriously? I got to add here too that way back when this started, I looked up the address of, I think it's called the Sierra private investigators firm that is owned by the Smiths, by Sammy Smith's mother and father. I looked up an address and I looked at it on Google Earth. And it just occurred to me yesterday. I was like, wait a second, is that the same house as the house in those 10-year-old videotapes that I was not really sure were Sammy? I haven't gone to check, but I'm thinking that they might be. There's so much gaslighting and bullshit in this case. It's impossible to keep up. Like I mentioned earlier today, I have the license plate of the blue Mitsubishi that Jagger and Kate were driving. And I have the license plate of the light blue minivan that was phoned in as a match at the Reno fancy neighborhood gate. I haven't had a chance to see if they match up. I don't think they do. I'll just tell you that. I'll look and I'll get back to you on that hopefully by tomorrow, because that's kind of important, right? But, there's just so much information. Like, this is just insanity, just sheer insanity. So before I forget, I want to give another shout out to Harsh Reality. And I hope it's okay with him that I did a reaction of his reaction of that damn behavior panel crap. And then I saw today that J-Rod did a reaction last night to his reaction. And I thought, oh, interesting. And we all know that J-Rod and Squirrels on Fire have been having fights. I hope that that's over. I don't know. I mean, I've tried to stay out of it. I am a supporter of both of their good work. And, if we're having issues like that, I think we need to keep them private. And I think that we need to not get distracted by it. And I think that we need to keep our focus on Kylie. So that said, they both are doing good work. So I want to give them both shout outs. One of the things J-Rod said in his reaction that I was just like, duh, if these guys on the behavior panel were just being fraudulent with their bullshit assessment, which I think they were, and I think they know that they were, they can be held accountable in a court of law. So I want to suggest to anybody who knows how to screen record to go ahead and screen record that, because once they realize, if J-Rod's message gets back to them, they're going to be like, oh, damn, it's interfering with an investigation. And fraudulency is fraudulency. That is why people will pay so much money for an expert to lie, because a lot of experts aren't going to lie. They're not going to put their reputation on the line. It's not worth it to them. They don't care how much money you give them. But then there's plenty of experts that'll say anything you want, or experts. I don't think they're really experts. They wouldn't sell out like that. They'll say anything you want for the right amount of money. So, it's integrity. It's about integrity. And if you don't have integrity, what do you have? I don't like to be on a soapbox, and I always find myself here. So Jeff on YouTube has started a private investigation on Sammy. Right. I know. Sorry about the doors slamming. Oh, see, I do these things when nobody's home. I have 4 kids and a husband and 3 dogs, 3 cats. And yeah, when everyone's gone, it's a lot quieter. So, yeah, Jeff is doing some good work too. My train of thought is gone. See, that's what happens when a door slams. This is why us as moms, it's hard to keep a profession going when you're the go-to for your family, right? And I took a step away from my professional career to be the stay-at-home mom. And this is so exciting for me because this is me. I've kept my licensure active, and this is me getting back into my profession, kind of. I mean, it's YouTube, so it's totally different. It's entertainment, right? But using my mental health training and background, using all my court experience, using all of my legal work. And I don't think I mentioned that when I did those mental health assessments for danger to self and others, I would have to Mirandize people before I spoke with them. I had to let them know that everything that they had the right to remain silent, and that everything they said can and would be used against them in a court of law. So they weren't in trouble criminally, but it was civil. It was a mental health court, so totally different. But still, it's a mindset that I've had since way back before I did anything like that. that everything we say can and will be used against us. Not necessarily in a court of law, but just anywhere. So the license plate. All right, you guys are on it. So 242D96. I'm going to go ahead and pin that one. And I don't have them memorized, so I don't remember if that was the minivan or the Mitsubishi. That's a hard word to say. Mitsubishi that looks like an SUV that Jagger was driving with Kate when they had Fox 40 follow them to Reno. So my thought too is that a blue Mitsubishi SUV could look like a light blue minivan. So I don't know. So yeah, so that's one of them. The 242D96. I can't remember which one that's for. If you remember and you want to put that up there, let's see, Jamie Ross, if you do. Justice, do you have an email you share? Yes, I do. It's Justice, ATOOZ @gmail.com. And I can type it in there before we're done. I'll repeat it again. Or if somebody wants to type it in there, that's fine too. Justice, ATOOZ @gmail.com. The license number was for the one they said was a blue minivan, but it came up as a Nissan. Okay, good to know. I think Jagger drives a Nissan car. I think I've seen some pictures of him with his Nissan car. So, oh my goodness. And I put in the notes after my last video that I did a quick Google search. I literally put in the search engine list of Lake Tahoe water companies, and the top 10 were none that we had mentioned. And then I also put in those notes, I wanted to remind everybody that Lake Tahoe is split, like half of it's California and half of it's Nevada. So for the most part, everything we're talking about, we're just talking about the California stuff. You know, Reno is obviously in Nevada, but Nevada County is in California. So, I mean, it's a little confusing to say the least, just to track it all, especially when we're not from there. We might be living across the pond. I'm a pain. Did you ever get my email, the Justice for Kylie bracelets I'm sending free to creators covering the case? I did, and I was going to respond, so I'll get back to you on that. Thank you so much. That's really sweet. So you're not a pain at all. Let me see. I've got a few pages of notes. I was looking up some songs. I love music, and I was thinking I might make like a playlist on my channel. And specifically looking up some Fiona Apple songs. I've mentioned before that I think Kylie was as talented as her. And I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Fiona Apple. I'm very familiar with her, but she got super famous overnight in like 1996, 97. She was about 19 years old when her first album called Title was released. I think it was 96 that it was released. Anyway, so she won a Grammy at age 19 for that. She started writing the music for that album when she was 15. And she had been sexually assaulted outside of her apartment in New York City when she was 12. And so her music was her therapy. Her music is all the lyrics, all the notes, everything. She's a genius and very, very powerful. And when I was watching some of her music videos of some of the best songs from that one Title, like Tidal Wave, I was just thinking, wow, she's probably a lot like Kylie, like probably more than I was even thinking. And a lot of younger people might not know Fiona Apple because once we got Adele on the scene and like Alanis Morissette, you didn't really need to go back further, right? I mean, these singers are incredible. Sinead O'Connor, I've listed a bunch of them that I honestly feel like she could hang in the ranks of these people. Joni Mitchell, Ricky Lee Jones, Jewel, um, Nora Jones. Did I just say that one? Ricky Lee Jones, Nora Jones. Yeah, I don't think I said Nora Jones. Anyway, um, just the talent and the angst, the angst of being a beautiful, young, talented woman and having to deal with this sexist bullshit that we live in, especially when you're raped when you're freaking 12. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that she is public about it and that she's worked out her therapy issues with her music. Music therapy is incredible. I don't think it posted, Michaela. Not sure if YouTube allows link sharing, etc. All's good though. I'm finishing a shawl and modding at the same time. And if you don't mind, Crime and Crochet, I will ask you to pin some of these comments because I'm trying to do my notes, and I'm just going to replace that pinned message with, oh my God, yes, I heard so much of Joni Mitchell and Kylie's voice, Justice. Aw. So it's not just me. It's so nice to know that I'm not alone on my little island. We're all fighting for Kylie. And, Joni Mitchell, she's still alive. Incredible. Joan Armatrading is another one that's super incredible. And Kate Bush, who's been getting really popular lately. She was really popular, I think, all the way back in the 80s. She was super popular in the UK. And, her popularity came over here, but she didn't play with all the music business stuff. She was into the whole like Johnny Cash mentality. So she didn't get too famous in America until whatever TV show it is. I don't know if it's Stranger Things or something else that uses her Running Up That Hill song, which is an awesome song. But real quick, let me hop over to some movies, okay? I don't think you guys will mind because we all love James Dean, right? He's the bomb. He's kind of like the Brad Pitt of that time frame and died way too young. And then, Marlon Brando was like the precursor to James Dean that a lot of younger people like myself kind of missed. Like, who? Right? And people would say, oh, Marlon Brando, James Dean based his entire like movie character persona on Marlon Brando in the movie called The Wild One, right? Where Brando played the motorcycle gang guy. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because, again, it was one of these movies that I didn't see until my adult life. And when I saw it, I was probably 40 or older. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I never saw this movie. Like, what's wrong with me? Because that was one people had always said, you got to watch The Wild One. If you like James Dean, you got to watch The Wild One. And I was like, nah, James Dean is enough. I don't need to go there. So when I watched that movie, there's this quote from that movie. And SpongeBob knows this quote. Hold on a second. There's a girl, a love interest in the movie that asks Brando's character, so what are you rebelling against anyway? And he's probably like chewing on a piece of grass or something, or toothpick. And he says, what you got? And I saw that as an adult and I was just like, oh my God, is that like the best line from any movie ever? And then a few years ago, I got my kids a set of SpongeBob pajamas with SpongeBob saying, what you got? And had I not finally seen where the Wild One, I would have had no idea. No idea. So for anybody who is unaware, you got to check out Brando, right? I mean, he's Brando. There's never been another one like him. There's a few that get close, like James Dean, like Brad Pitt, like a handful of others, but he was just amazing. And the reason why people liked him so much is because he didn't play the game. He was just himself. He didn't listen to what anybody said. He was a pain in the ass to work with, I'm sure, and a lot of directors hated him and wouldn't work with him, but it didn't matter. He was so good that everybody wanted him. You know, he made piles of money. He went and bought a chain of islands in the Polynesians, and he had like a whole commune out there, like literally. And he would not come off his island. They offered him, I think, $2 million for a 2-minute bit to play Superman's dad in the Superman movie. What was that? Like the very end of the 70s. And he said, okay, a couple $1 million for a couple of minutes. I'll do that. And, just an interesting character. So when you hear me going off about Brando, that's why. And I've read a lot of biographies, and he even did an autobiography, which, he's a pretty private guy. So let me read a few of your questions. I don't seem to have the options to pin a comment, just options for hiding comment. Okay. Let me just pick a random one. Oh, the next episode of Sammy I Ammy is available today. That's good to know. I'm going to pin Phantasmic Ethers. Hearing Kylie sing and knowing she's not here to keep singing, bless us with more lovely music, just breaks my heart. I know. And it's really sucky. I mean, even if she had no talent, even if she sang horribly, it's freaking sucky. But a person like that can contribute so much to the library of American music and world music. I mean, it's just profound. The show was called Euphoria, Justice, and Crime and Crochet. Yes, I don't think mods can do that. I'm a mod for Michelle Sutton and CCTV sometimes too. Ha ha ha. So you're talking about pinning a comment when you just tap on the 3 dots, and then it gives you a little menu: replaced pinned message, report, remove, put user in timeout, hide user on this channel, add moderator. I'm pretty sure that you guys can do that. So there's 3 dots next to each person's comment if you put your cursor over the 3 dots. And then you tap it and it'll give you the menu of those 6 options. And the top one is to pin the comment. So, yeah, she had so much talent. She was hated and envied by her so-called friends. Oh, I hate what they did to her. And I'm starting to get more, I don't know, more solid in my opinion of what they did to her. And it's still my opinion. It's still not fact. It's not fact till it's proven in a court of law. We've got to utilize our system and allow due process. But I think that this case, like I said at the beginning, it caught my attention, and it caught a lot of our attention right up front because everything about it was wrong. And we've all said it again and again and again that we've never seen a case anything like this. These people are ridiculous. Okay. Did you look at the thumbnail for the very last video I did today? The half-hour one that is the live that one person was saying that she couldn't find it after she got interrupted for those 10 minutes. The thumbnail photograph that I picked is a group of people at the search, and Mags is in that group of people, and she has a pair of shorts on, and she has the white paint on her leg that says "Find Kylie," and she's got all kinds of scrapes and scabs on her legs. I never noticed until today. So when I made a screenshot of that photograph to use it for my thumbnail, I was like, oh my God, I've never even seen this photo. And then I realized, wait, no, I did. I actually had it in my file. I just had come across it a few days ago when I was kind of going a flurry of making screenshots for thumbnails. So I already had it. And I still, when I looked at it before, I didn't notice the weird marks on her legs. I looked at that today and I was just like, I have always given that girl the benefit of the doubt for being the one with the most compassion. You got to look at that. What was with the short shorts? Well, so it was about 81 degrees, I think, on the day of the search, August 9th. would have been Tuesday when they first started their search, I think. I'm not sure if they started on Monday the 8th. I know that the interview with Sammy and Tony Dodge, I think that that's August 10th. But it was hot those days. I think it's about as hot as it gets up there in the Sierra Nevadas at the very peak, which is only 81. So for a lot of us, that's not very hot. But if you're really nervous and you're really scared about some horrible, insane shit that you did that you're trying to cover up, I think that's going to accelerate your body temperature. Because I always wondered, why did Sammy put shorts on when she had all those bruises on her legs that she was trying to hide with the white paint? So I thought it must have been 90 degrees and she just had to have her shorts on because she was too hot. Because why wouldn't you just put pants on? And, Mags actually is wearing a very long skirt in most of those photos, come to think of it, right? And Kate's nowhere to be seen. Jagger's nowhere to be seen. Their dear friend is missing and they're not helping in the search. Lindsay didn't help in the search. She said, I don't know how to find a lost person. I'll leave it to the professionals. No, no. If that's your person, you're going to be out there pounding the dirt, pounding the pavement, helping out, trying to make sure everybody that can is helping out. I think that Kate was out there in the very beginning. I think, and this is the one thing I still haven't been able to find, the videotape of her being interviewed by the news where she says it was like Lord of the Flies. You guys have heard me say that a couple of times this last week. Kate Cuneo said it as well as Sammy. And then I think she was never out there again. And she put a sock in it, Well, she did that one interview in Reno. Magdalene was right there in the narrative from the jump. Right. She was there. The sweatshirt, the Lana Del Rey sweatshirt, I'm pretty sure belonged to her. So I always kind of thought, well, maybe Sammy just, threw that into the mix to implicate Mags. I think Sammy is the guiltiest one, and that she was trying to get as many people implicated as she could so that they would all have to keep their mouths shut, not just for her, but for themselves. Lindsay too stoned to move. Oh, Kevin, you're horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I like joking around with you because you're such a jokester. Unfortunately, I think a lot of them were too stoned to move a lot of the time. Caught how weird she is when saying it. What other things were you guys doing when you split up, Sammy? Right. Oh, God, that line. I love that. To do other things. Oh, man. Yeah, that whole interview. And then for the behavior panel to break that interview down now, again, they're just trying to lay the groundwork for whatever it is that they may or may not say about this case, with November 1st coming around, in my opinion. To me, it's so obvious. Okay. Meg, Sammy, Evan, Steve, Ross all made it out. I can't understand why Kylie was in the back of her own car unless she was unresponsive or already passed. I honestly think she had a concussion. I honestly think she'd been assaulted. I honestly think this whole thing was premeditated. These are just my opinions. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, Ross, Stephen Ross Greenberg, I think is Mags's boyfriend's full name. And he looks so sweet and innocent in all the photographs. But he's standing right next to Mags with all those scabs and scrapes on her legs and the writing, the Find Kylie down her thigh. And, he looks really sweet and innocent, but I have a feeling that he's not. And like I said earlier about the kid named Evan Fife, is that it? And then Philip Franco, and then Chucky, the 35-year-old dude that's hanging out with these kids in some of the photographs. And then there's the other third guy. I don't remember if that was the one that Real Justice was accusing Sammy of having a deal where he was going to get a BJ from her. Like, I mean, some people were really weirded out by that part of the narrative in number 65 of Sammy I Ammy. And, it caught me off guard too. I was like, what? How's that fit in? Like, where's that information even from? But Sammy had been dating Philip Franco, I believe. He was the one that is always like this with the flat ball cap. I think it's black or dark brown, the hat that he's usually wearing. He's driving the Subaru with Sammy in the back in the middle when they're up there doing the tour of where the party was and showing the reporters like this is this and this is this. But another thing I noticed in that tour as I've been reviewing it these last few days is that when Sammy says, she holds out her hand with like her 3 fingers and she's like, and we were right over here, but it looks like she's holding the camera. Like the camera is like right here. It doesn't look like it's a news crew camera. Like I'm wondering if she was walking around with her cell phone making video footage to give to the news. I don't know. It's kind of irrelevant, but it was just interesting. I was like, wait a second, that's a weird camera angle. How did they get that? It really seems like it's from right here. Like she's got her phone. Actually, Justice, do you have access to the Cal Topo app's records of the search volunteers' names and their location that they tracked? None of Kylie's peers tracked their locations. Thank you. I'm sure that I could look at it. I have not. I have looked at the videotapes that R22 Cents has put together with that material, and he's done a really excellent job. So, he's looking over the path that people were taking when they were checked in, and then the CalTopo map tracks their cell phone activity. So you get the pattern of who's where, and then they can see what areas haven't been searched yet. And it's really spooky because everything was searched right by where her car was found, like a whole lot of, circles, like scribbles, but they didn't find her car there, right? And then there's like this whole huge area of the map that says, forest closed for search. And, it seems like there might be evidence to support that her car was not in the water until possibly around August 18th. And it seems as though it could have been kept hidden in a garage or out in the woods or both. Perhaps it was moving. I know it sounds weird, but who knows? I mean, truth is always stranger than fiction. This whole story is weird. This whole story is so weird. And it's just so wrong, like something was up from the outset. None of it made sense from the outset. So I think I'm going to read a few more of your comments and then try to wrap up. We're already over 40 minutes and it is the weekend, right? So I'm taking the day off. But I've told you again and again, I really enjoy doing this. I can send you the link if you would like to look through all the list of volunteers at Justice. That way you can see it visually a bit easier. You're welcome to send it to me. I have so much stuff that I'm trying to look at all the time. I honestly don't know that I will look at it, but you're more than welcome to send it to me. So thank you. Sometimes it's just great to have that stuff in your files, right? I've had that feeling for a long time after seeing a couple of pictures and interviews. I know the signs. Dana Berger. I'm going to go back. I want to see what Dana had said that Ed Zachary is responding to. You're right. I never noticed Mag's legs so scraped up. She strikes me as a heavy drug user. Definitely a heavy drug user, for sure. I mean, she pretty much states that out front, drugs that were different than the drugs that we normally have. We usually have all these drugs, and then they had all these drugs, and we're like, wait, why do you got those drugs? We just want these drugs. I mean, sorry, my nose is all itchy. I'm going to guess marijuana, mushrooms, right? I mean, that's usually the kind of stuff that kids that age want to do out in the woods. Alcohol, maybe cocaine, and then, those drugs, maybe that's the fentanyl. I don't know. Heroin. I don't know. Heroin's a lot more popular than people realize, and it's gotten a lot cheaper too. He runs up to her car a few times and she gets all frazzled and forgets what she's saying. Yeah, that's what Real Justice is saying in his video number 65. And yeah, that interview is really weird. Sammy's really weird. It's so freaking weird to me that this behavior panel just tried to analyze it and say, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. She's a great gal. What are you guys talking about? So let's see. I was looking for more of the comments that Ed Zachary had tagged Dana Berger, but I just going to keep moving on. Maybe Truckee is full of aliens like Men in Black, like little dudes in human robot suits or something. I believe it. Nothing surprises me in this whole freaking case. It's pretty wild. You should look into the Truckee River Operating Agreement if you want to know more about the water rights in, let's see, skipped up. More about the water rights in that area. It's basically the contract between the private and public owners, Justice. Right. And there's just, water rights are just an issue. Like, especially when you're dealing with desert, which is a lot out there, a lot of desert. And then you've got aquifers under land that people are going to be drilling into and maybe contaminating, and just all the preservation of nature and wildlife. I mean, it's a lot of complicated issues. And it sounds like Kylie's granddad, bless him, David R. Robertson, had so much to do with all that stuff, and that it was a hot mess, right? I mean, it's a whole lot of money and a whole lot of politics. The behavior panel, I left the harshest comment on there. Like, how could they all think she's really innocent and telling the truth? Right. They don't. They know they're fucking with everybody. Wouldn't it be amazing if a whole bunch of subs were lost on a daily basis over that crap? Like, I remember hearing just real recently about Zav Girl losing a couple hundred subs a day because she had changed her mind about the case and people thought she was selling out and didn't like the direction she was going. And then when she was losing a couple hundred subs a day for a few days in a row, she re-examined her posture. So, I love Zav Girl. I have so much respect for her. And a lot of these bigger channels that have gone back and forth, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with going back and forth. I think it's super important to keep an open mind and to leave no stone unturned. However, personally, I have never seen anything that has indicated to me that this was a car accident with Kylie driving her car. I've never seen anything that made me think that that was the truth. So, when people talk about like, oh, you guys and your conspiracy theories, just leave it alone. I'm just like, her having a freaking car accident driving is a conspiracy theory. And all of these people, if they did what it looks like they did, they were conspiring against her for a long time. Working together, conniving, plotting. Really, really gross. Yes, Kanga, I thought from picking her scabs too, and they looked kind of raw, like her anxiety levels had been up and she'd been picking at them. Thank you for bringing that up. Somebody got on my case about bringing up her scabs on her face. And it's just like, was it not so shocking, those first interviews with her and those black pox? I mean, black. You could tell she had all kinds of pancake makeup on, but still these black pox. So I brought them up wondering if they were zits or maybe burns from embers from trying to burn some evidence, because Sammy has moles on her face. Jagger has moles on his face. I thought maybe they're not moles. Maybe they were all too close to the fire that they were trying to burn the evidence in. It's just a theory. Anyway, I'm not trying to be mean to Mags. And of course, any of us are going to be very self-conscious if our face, if we're breaking out and then we're being interviewed. But those marks definitely look to me like drugs, stress, picking, staying up all night. And interestingly enough, in the photograph that I used for my thumbnail from the tape earlier today, her face is clear. I'm pretty sure it's all clear in that picture. And then it was a couple days later that she's got the black, what looked like black scabs or sores. And yeah, it's not to berate her or embarrass her. It's just evidence. When somebody is injured, when someone else is missing or deceased, those injuries are noteworthy. And any investigative team worth their weight is going to be asking all these kids to take off their clothes and documenting any scabs, cuts, abrasions, bruises that they have. I mean, come on, especially the sheriff of Placer County. He'd be asking kids to take off. No, I'm not saying it. That is so upsetting to me that person allegedly, if that affidavit from May 15th, 2022 is accurate, and I believe that it is accurate, I believe that it's truthful, that would make the sheriff a pedophile. Even if the person was of age, is still 100% unethical and grounds for termination. Absolutely. On company time, but underage, the whole thing's criminal in my mind, even if it was with somebody who was 30. Okay. He's in a position of power. They are a ride along trying to learn from that person. And he took advantage of the position that he was in and admitted it. He admitted that he had sexual contact with this person, regardless of whether he knew she was 16 or not. But remember, he has access to all the data banks that would tell him how old somebody was, right? So it doesn't really matter to me what age she is, although her being 16 at the time makes it that much worse. To me, that means he needs to be fired, he needs to be tried, he needs to be charged, and if he's convicted, then he needs to be a registered sex offender for the rest of his life. So I am just appalled. And it just appalls me how even I kind of overlook all that stuff. We're just so numb to it all, especially in this case, because it's all such fuckery. Right. Sheriff Wayne Wu, who was in charge of the missing persons case for the first 14 or 15 days until AWP found Kylie on Nevada County land. So it became the Nevada Sheriff Moon's case, right? Well, Mags is on drugs. Yeah, they're all on drugs. And yeah, Wu has to go. Has anybody recently gone back to listen to the Red Flag Ronnie call? Oh my God. Yes, I've done a little bit of that. When you really listen to the cadence of the voice and you've seen certain videos in the beginning, you can tell 100%. Tell who? Really? I'm so curious. Who do you think it is? Red Flag Ronnie. Oh, please share, Nip. Kevin says, how is he still sheriff is beyond me. Right. Mags is afraid of Sammy Smith. Yeah, aren't we all? God. Listen to Red Flag Ronnie was proven by another channel to be Ickmail's cousin. Both Wu and Moon need to be locked in a cell together. Oh, wouldn't that be great? My ex-friends would do the same things with their faces. Right. The sores that people get when they're using meth. Kevin Neese, hi there, nice to see you, and thanks for the work you've been doing on Kylie's case, sending support from Taiwan. Sammy is running the show of kids. Evidence is still WTF. Me too, can't believe he is still sheriff. And again, here we are, almost November 1st and November 7th. I'm pretty sure he's on the ballot because he kind of got sworn in early because the sheriff before him just wanted to get the hell out of Dodge faster than fast. Not just that Sheriff Hun, 100%, that baby Kylie needs us all. So pleased you're not moving on to another like most have. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk about other cases that apply to Kylie's, like the whole case with Meredith Kircher that I've been talking about lately. And it seems like there might be a new movie coming out that is more in depth about her horrible, horrible, uh, ridiculous murder. I wanted to mention that I didn't know this. I just read it yesterday. Amanda Knox had a cut on her neck the morning of all the interviews after Meredith was found stabbed to death. And everybody noticed the cut because you could see it from across the room, and it was like half an inch. It was vertical, and I'd never heard about it. Like, how did I not hear about it? All the research that True Crime Rocket Science did, I'm sure he had it in there. I just missed it because there was so much information that was new to me. Justice Cream Brulee could be referencing meth due to this blowtorch connection. Just a thought. I don't know what the blowtorch connection is, but definitely Cream Brulee is code for drugs. I also wondered, though, if maybe this might sound silly, but maybe Cream Brulee was like the signature dessert that they had at the lodge that people would just rave about and come back year after year to have the Cream Brulee. And that maybe Kate invited Kylie over to try to corral her to get her to that party. And she said, "Oh, would you come over and teach me how to make the creme brulee?" I don't know. I also wanted to mention, though, one of my thumbnails that I used the other day, a beautiful picture of a like 8-year-old Kylie in a little yellow kayak out on the water. It's such a pretty picture. It is Kylie. I researched it online where I found it, and I gave photo credits. And the reason I gave photo credits is really bad. I mean, because everything on the internet is available for fair use, right? I do like to give photo credits when I know exactly where I got it. Like, if I took a picture off a Zav Girls thing or someone else's. But that photograph of an adorable young Kylie in a kayak all by herself with her beautiful blonde hair is from Men's Magazine. That's the name of the magazine that had the photograph. Men's Magazine. And that gave me the creeps. So they're putting a photograph of their adorable, small, blonde child in a photograph all by herself out in nature, all alone, in a magazine called Men's Magazine. Sure, okay, that might be totally legit, but it creeps me out. It's just like, if it was called Adventure Magazine, I wouldn't have as big of a reaction at all. But it's called Men's Magazine, probably for a reason. I don't know. It just blew my freaking mind. Like, obviously you're going to be shy about putting pictures of your children out in the public arena when you have a business like that and they live there at the business. And, I'm thinking more about it. If Kylie had that IUD that they said in the autopsy that she had, who does that? Who has their 16-year-old get an IUD? It's dangerous. I mean, they can get embedded and then cause infertility. And most people would like to keep the option open of maybe having kids one day. So I just can't understand having that for a 16-year-old for their birth control, and how mind-blowing that might have been. Like, her granddad and her dad might have had no idea. Just a thought that I had today. White paint covering everything else badly, I might add. Yeah, check out the channel When Evil Entered on Red Flag Ronnie. Thank you. I'm not familiar with When Evil Entered. Creme brulee is a type of weed strain, right? That too. So, back to the thing with Squirrels on Fire and J Rod that I don't want to talk about. I was given some good props to J Rod for his good work, and I want to give props to Squirrels on Fire for her good work too. Again, she's leaving no stone unturned. And specifically, some of the work that she's doing is looking at maybe that there's these people behind the scenes that are more responsible for what happened to Kylie, but they kind of set up these kids to take the fall. And she could very well be onto something with that. But this is why people hire hits, because it's hard to make the connection. So the person who does the hit is the person who takes the fall. That's why they do it that way. Um, and a lot of times they don't want to go any deeper than that. Law enforcement doesn't want to go any deeper than that. They just want to wrap it up nice and pretty with a bow and put it on a shelf and be done. Oh, great song choice, Michaela. Ours did Seven Nation Army and Earth, Wind and Fire. I love that new Skid Row album. Oh, I love that you guys are talking about music in there. So let's see. Another thing that gave me the creeps in this case, I've never talked about it. I've never heard anybody talk about it, is when the police were like wrapping up their search and saying, well, we're going to focus more on interviews, the day before AWP got there. And then they mentioned something about hunting season. Oh, and hunting season is right around the corner. And that just hit me wrong. It just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Like, okay, first of all, it's not right around the corner. So you're saying it's okay to wait that long before she's found. And second of all, it just kind of was like creepy. Like, why are you talking about hunting? We're talking about a search for a missing child. What are you, hunting a missing child? That's the connection that I felt so creeped out about. Um, I really feel like she was their prey, that Mags and Kate lured her there to be the murdered prey. And maybe they didn't realize that it was going to result in her losing her life. But I really feel like they were put up to making sure she got there. And I'm thinking that all of these people have a hand in it, and they're all covering for their own asses, and they're covering for each other. And I wonder if this is true about imminent arrests, and that one person has come forward and is cutting a sweet deal of like 2 years probation. I think that was from J Rod, right? That said that there was like a 90% chance of that. And who knows if that's true. If it were true, of course, we're wondering then who would that be? Who would be coming forth? Could be Sammy with her mom being a lawyer. Um, remember the Alaska hunting case? So frightening. No, I don't remember the Alaska hunting case. So Alaska is the highest state for serial killers per capita. Um, okay, I'm gonna change Skinner's song to Home, Sweet Home, Arizona. I think Kevin Neese, are you referring to Plunder's video that she dropped a couple hours ago of the person who's being held for the killing of the two girls that his wife had posted on Facebook? Um, him playing pool 5 years ago, a couple of months before those girls were murdered. And in the bar, they're playing Sweet Home Alabama. And I don't know if that's what you're referring to or something else. Anyway, it's a really good, Plunder has dropped a few shorts about this guy that are just chilling, absolutely chilling. Um, so as you guys can tell, it's evening and I'm just like really chilled out. This is why I always do my videos in the morning, because I'm just a lot perkier, a lot sharper. So I go to bed early. It's getting close to bedtime. Kevin Neese says, meh, eh, gotta have Western version. Not sure what you're referring to, but Kevin, I hope that you are working on like a video, like a music video of Kylie with your cool song, My New Friends. There's no way a plea deal would be leaked, won't happen until the court appearance. Yeah. Uh, Kevin Neese, yes, I agree. Teens would never invite an adult like Juan to ref their party. Oh my God. I know. I mean, the information that has come forth. Oh, and so talking about the red flag Ronnie, you know, yeah, it's really valuable to review all of these things with the hindsight and the knowledge that we have now. So glad to have gotten a last jazz fix for today before darn Monday tomorrow. Oh, thank you. I bought property in Arizona. Asked them to ask her about the boy and girl fighting at the party, about a few different things like that. Now we're finding out were possibly very important questions. Right. So there was the whole thing. And again, Squirrels on Fire was doing a lot of research on this. Um, the allegation is that Cody Milne was not invited to the party. He was specifically told that he wasn't welcome there, and that he came and that maybe he had designs on Kylie, and that some of the boys like blocked the road with the white pickup and maybe were jumping around with the baseball bats with their shirts off to try to get him to go away. I don't know if there is evidence of any of that being what actually occurred, but in that scenario that Squirrels on Fire has painted, then she's saying that these kids, including Sammy, are like the good guys, and I beg to differ. I don't share that opinion at all. Again, I think it's really good to think of different possibilities because you just never know. I think that whoever was trying to get Kylie that night, they were keeping with the bats, was trying to save her from the situation. So yeah, I don't know, Kangaroo, if you've been keeping up with Squirrels on Fire and you're referencing that, but that's kind of where she's coming from. And it sounds plausible. It's not what I believe happened. I don't think that Sammy was trying to protect Kylie from anything. I think that Kylie needed protection from Sammy. That's just my opinion. So let's see. The Handmaid's Tale. Oh my God, just the whole thing. The Handmaid's Tale and then the train tracks. So, you guys, I've talked about this a couple of times, and some people are aware of the train tracks that go up the mountainside just to turn around. So, like, they go nowhere. And I don't understand why a train would go up a steep grade just to turn around. To me, that doesn't make sense. But I know I've seen it with my own eyes when I would go up there and ski, and where we would stay on Donner Lake, you could see the turnaround, which is right by where the point of the horrible Donner Party disaster happened. And so, there's a lot of reference to train tracks in this case. And I think Lindsay had reference to train tracks in her social media. We know that she had a Handmaid's Tale, like a photograph from the Handmaid's Tale as her profile picture early on, and then she changed it. We also know that she's like selling some bizarre stuff on Etsy. Like, it kind of looks like it's a joke, like it's just like meh, and sick of this shit, like kind of these negative little sayings on candles or mugs or stuff, sweatshirts. There's a hoodie. There's a black hoodie. Why is she selling a black hoodie on Etsy? I didn't look at it close enough to see what it said on the black hoodie. Now I'm kind of afraid to. But Lindsay Neiman has an Etsy site, and she's selling some weird negative stuff, like stuff with negative sayings on it. There's nothing wrong with that, but my God, I mean, isn't everything negative enough? Like, why would you want to stoke that fire? I want to know where Tony Creepster was in the days before Kylie went missing. Him, Zanime, Ikmael, I don't know. They all had interviews with the supposed people from the party. Zanime, we know, is sketch. Yeah, I'm so suspicious of her. And the rest of the catfish crew is just out of control. I saw CNY show her store. Yes, thank you, Laughing Stock 1963. Thank you for that, because I would love to credit CNY showing her store, because that's how I saw it too. So I'd really love to give credit where credit is due. So thank you. Um, Tony says in Sammy interview he'd been to Truckee a bunch of times. I know, isn't that neat? He's been there a bunch of times. I want to know when the last time was before the 10th of August. Well, there's a theory that he might have been in Truckee during the interview, that he was there. He just, might have been at that same Prosser campground. I don't know. A hotel, I don't know. Tony says at the beginning of that interview that he had been following Sammy around. Right, I know. And what did he mean? Did he mean physically following her around? Like, it's pretty bizarre. And then when he asked if Kylie had a boyfriend and she said no, how we used to say she was loving the single life or something like that, rocking the single life. The way she said it was almost like she was saying the way you and I used to say. Yeah, remember the way we used to say rocking the single life? Somebody else pointed that out, and I don't remember where I saw it. It was like a month ago, and I went back and rewatched, and I was just like, interesting. It does almost sound like she's referring to herself and Tony saying rocking the single life. She says it's like we used to say, rocking the single life. She says it all really fast, so it's hard to catch it. All right, a few more of these and then we'll wrap it up. Tony is such a creep. He may as well have been asking Sammy to go to bed the whole interview. That's what I got from it. Tony's voice reminds me of Beavis and Butthead. Oh, that's the best. That's a good quote. Dodgy. Yep. Sorry to be so off topic, but living abroad, I don't know how to find official public records websites. Oh, you're fine. I don't know which are fraudulent and which are real. So many scammers nowadays. Yeah, it's true. No, we're not sure. He could be the one that marked the arrow for Xana lady. Yeah. And just that whole thing with the dog bones, the there she is and the dog bones. I mean, just whack, whack, whack. Her sleeping in her car. No one's going to go to Prosser Creek to kayak for half an hour and sleep in their car. Ridiculous. And it's cold out there. It gets down to like 45 degrees on those nights in the summer. That's really cold. Pedo means fart in Spanish, just saying. So creepy. What about Sammy saying, I have her completely? Thank you, Blonde Gypsy. That's my favorite one, is when she says, I have her completely. Huh? Was I talking? Like, what was she going to say that she just stopped herself and could not even pick up anything? Like, she just dropped it and then said, oh, gee, I've been so tired. She did like a Nicole Kessinger. Oh, I'm so tired. I can't even remember anything, except I remember all of this when I feel like it. Oh, yeah. Some good resources linked at NETR. What does Dodgy Tony, perhaps one of the old creepers at the party? She loves the water. What the fuck? Yeah, that was really annoying. She loves the water. She likes music and she loves the water. It was so out of context. And it was like she was trying to say, well, she loves the water so much, it wouldn't surprise me if she accidentally drove herself right into it. This whole case is just terrible. So I want to remind people, if you don't mind, please like, share, and sub. And it's just so exciting to see the channel growing. It's really neat. We're getting close to 3,000 subs, close to 250,000 views. Oh my God, it's just 2 months. And, that's all thanks to you guys. Seriously. So, yeah. going back to the thing about the Handmaid's Tale and just the whole like cult kind of thing that they have going on there, and just like that old song Hotel California, you can check out anytime you like but you can never leave. There are things that you can't get out of, like it sounds like um Lindsay's dad, David Robertson, can't get out of the water company business. I don't know if he has successfully finally cut himself loose out of it. But I think it took at least 10 years if he has actually made that complete break. I don't know. It doesn't seem to me that he's been able to completely, but I could be incorrect. Um, so, just the mind control, the brainwashing that these types of groups, communes, religious groups, whatever they are, um, and then sometimes they disguise it as self-help. So, you got to get into their group think, because then you're on the path to wellness. Or if you don't want to do that, then you must be a low life, right? So, it's sort of like peer pressure to join the cult or whatever it is, to join the group. Um, a lot of the unspoken rules we've talked about, like the secret society etiquette, and a lot of it is just really, really sexist, really, really sexist. So it's pretty scary, really, when you come right down to it. Being a hot teenage girl in a community like Truckee around all those freaking creeps. Um, Look what happened. Another one of my favorite Sammy things, I don't think I've put this one out there, I don't know if anyone has that I've heard, is when she says, well, we're open to all ideas. We're still trying to figure out what happened to Kylie. Everything's open in the air. And the way she says open in the air is so unusual. It's not a thing. And it makes me think, again, is it another Sammy brain leak? Is she saying that Kylie's open in the air? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just have a lot of questions. Um, It would be so nice if the corruption got cleaned up. It would be so nice if we could really ungaslight ourselves. So let's see. I think I've gotten everything covered. Um, I think so. Yeah. I spoke about the 4 agreements. I was going to look them up. I am going to look them up because I love the 4 agreements. They're very helpful. The book by Miguel de Ruiz. But I'm also going to wrap up. We're at an hour and 17 minutes. And as you can see, I'm kind of getting ready to go night night. I know it's so early. It cracks me up. I'm an old lady. It's 7:30, but I mean, I'd fall asleep slowly and then I wake up super early. I mean, I'm up well before 6, not as early as Kevin Neese, but I'm up super early and I'm well rested. So the only way to get up super early and be well rested is to go to bed super early. I don't know if anyone else has spotted, but Tony hasn't posted for over 2 weeks now. Oh, really? I'm so glad you wrote that. And then I read it. I'm going to pin that because I was wondering when we'd be not having to see his stuff. Because I kept checking. I was like, is he still not in jail? God, is he still out in the open air? What was that quote? It's on my last page. Um, yeah, is he still out in the open air? Holy caboli. She's winding down. Aw, legging it. That should say clearly see it, hun. So yeah, you guys look at the legs of Mags on that little tiny thumbnail from my video earlier this morning. It's, to me, it just kind of changed everything. I've always felt like she was the most compassionate one, the one that cared about Kylie the most. And if it's what it looks like, that girl doesn't give a damn about Kylie, in my opinion. So have a good night. Get some good rest, get some good relaxation and nutrition and hydration. Get ready for a really productive work week. I hope you guys all have jobs that you enjoy. And, everything's so expensive right now. It's insane, isn't it? Just like food and gas, it's out of control. I'm just gobsmacked. I don't know how any of us are keeping up, but I feel very lucky that we are. And I hope that you guys are too. What have you found out about the Masonic Lodge of Truckee? I'm very interested in Mason stuff. Yeah, that stuff gets really dark. So back to nighty night. You guys, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for joining me in my live stream. I really enjoy you guys. Lots of love, lots of prayers, and thanks again for sending them towards my family. We really appreciate it. Take care. See you tomorrow.